The golden age of economic disruption is here. This is Law and Society. Please subscribe. I haven't talked about the economy in a little bit because, as you see it unfold, it's happening every day, little by little, and then it accrues, and you get jobs reports, and you get other data, and that gives you the direction of where the economy is going. And it is not going in a good direction. So there have been reports. The October jobs report was the most amount of layoffs in October since 2003. I mean, this predates the Great Recession. This predates COVID. This is during the second Bush, George W. Bush's presidency, and it shows what the job market is saying, that it is artificial intelligence that's prompting the job losses. But you also have to take into consideration all of the tariffs, the other economic policies, the immigration policies of this particular administration, that all play in to how the jobs market works, and also how companies throughout the sectors hired a lot of people during Biden's term because of those policies that Biden had. And now in Trump's term, those companies are losing money, and so they have to lay off people. You can shroud it in the veil of AI, but it is at the end of the line a slowing down of the economy. And there are layoffs throughout multiple sectors, and it's having a crushing impact on the economy as well as the consumer market, as Americans can't afford the skyrocketing prices. Middle income consumers are spending less. And that's a sizable chunk of Americans who traditionally don't need food assistance or any governmental benefits because they can afford them. If things become unaffordable for them, the poor are completely out of luck. There's a K-shaped economy forming, and it has been forming since the end of the pandemic. Since the pandemic started, you can say that the K-shaped economy originally started really bifurcating after the Great Recession, with the TARP benefits going to keep up the big three auto companies and other companies, while the people don't really get a bailout, so they have to hobble on. And we get to a point where the K-shaped economy really takes shape when you see all of a sudden, on the same day that SNAP benefits are being paused in the United States, Tesla's shareholders have approved $1 trillion pay package for Elon Musk. And that is a K-shaped economy to the extreme, on full display. $1 trillion is $1,000 billion. He's going to get paid $1,000 billion over 10 years, which is over $100 billion. 100 billion with a B. That's $100,000 million a year. Per year. And there are people starving in America right now. There are people who are lined up around food pantries all across the United States. Sometimes people comment on my videos and posts, and my friends comment that I sound like I'm shouting because I get excited about this. But this is because some reason I feel this pain of the American people, and it hits my heart to see this disparity in front of our eyes and not being able to do anything about it other than talk to you and inform you so you are energized just like me as well. So pardon me if I get a little shouty. It is not shouting at you. I'm shouting about the situation. Tariffs have had a bad economic impact. Prices are going up. People's wages are not. So there's a stagflation of business because people can't afford the products. There's a labor market shortage. The government continues to withhold emergency SNAP funding in defiance of court orders, especially one that was again reinforced today for Donald Trump to disperse the SNAP emergency money by tomorrow. Let's see if Donald Trump listens. And Donald Trump has so far not released it and says it isn't for the purposes the court and the law says it is. So expect him to stonewall the court and appeal this ruling, and expect him to not listen to the ruling that comes out from the appellate court as well. I'm not sure what appellate circuit Rhode Island falls in, so I'm not going to tell you about that. But Donald Trump plans to appeal the Rhode Island ruling saying that release the SNAP fundings now. And now I'm going to say something that I really didn't ever think that I would have said, which is Marjorie Taylor Greene has come out and attested to the increasing prices, including energy and grocery prices, countering Donald Trump's regime's lies. But J.D. Vance seems unfazed by the suffering that has befallen poor Americans. He says the American peoples unfortunately are about to start suffering some very real consequences because of the shutdown. But they still will not negotiate on extending the ACA subsidies so healthcare premiums don't skyrocket, and commit to not cutting so much money out of the SNAP benefits that they become essentially not enough to help the American people. 186 billion in cuts. So that's 186,000 million. Really want to think about this money and how big of an amount we are talking about here. Because most of us can't even imagine having $1 million in our bank account. But there are people in our government who are dealing in hundreds of thousands of millions. And yes, JD, we know. Why don't you go to your boss and do something about it? Why don't you negotiate, give the people the ACA subsidies back? All the options are there for JD Vance and Donald's regime to use, but they just won't use it until Democrats sign the continuing resolutions that will cut Affordable Care Act subsidies, that Mike Johnson has come out and said that he does not make any promises about ACA subsidies, even though Senate Republicans are willing to do so. And the clear road for massive cuts to Medicaid, SNAP, and other safety programs if this continuing resolution is signed. Donald Trump continues to lie about inflation with no pushback from the press, because we know that if there is pushback from the press, the next day that press member is going to lose their press credentials. We are there. It is happening. And Donald Trump says, our energy costs are going down. False. Our groceries are way down. False. Everything is way down. False. And the press does not report it because it is false. Thanksgiving meals, 25% down. False. I have put in the reference box the Bureau of Labor Statistics, as well as other resources from the Fed of the St. Louis that talks about how prices have gone up and energy costs specifically have gone up. And then Donald Trump goes on to say, so I don't want to hear about the affordability. Well, you lied about every single point that you pointed out, and you promised that the cost of living would go down for the American people on the first day of you taking office. So yes, you are going to hear about affordability whether you like it or not, because you have broken your central promise to the American people. And you have conned the American people. And now you have taken over our government. You are holding our government and taxpayer money hostage and not executing the appropriated money by Congress. You're sending out troops. You're sending out federal agents who continue to abuse peaceful protesters, as well as illegally and unconstitutionally seize and detain people left, right, and centers, anybody from undocumented migrants to homeless people to people who are brown because of Kavanaugh stops to people who are simply getting in your way so to let you know that what you're doing is wrong, and you are arresting them and charging them with felonies. So everything is not way down, everything is not all right. Things are getting more expensive every day, especially the cost of energy. Gasoline may be down barely, but home energy is way up, and you know it when you get the bill. Food prices are way up, and that's why grocery chains are coming up with deals for Thanksgiving. And I have posted in the resources section to Walmart and Aldi on their Thanksgiving deals for $4 per person for a meal for Thanksgiving. You can check it out if you are on a budget. Then Trump talks about SNAP. Our country has to remain liquid because problems, catastrophes, wars. It would be because problems, it could be anything. We have to remain liquid. We can't give everything away. And that is so freaking offensive. So it's okay to give Argentina $40 billion, means $40,000 million, and tax cuts to the ultra-rich be made permanent, but we need to keep our country liquid when it comes to feeding the poor? That really doesn't make any sense unless you're an oligarch engaged actively in a growing fascist regime. And that's what we're seeing here. Reports have come out that U.S. air traffic is going to slow down as 40 high-traffic airports in the United States are going to bring down their air traffic controller staff because they're not being paid due to the shutdown, which already has and will have a pretty significant impact on business travelers and thereby the economy, not to mention the tourists and the people who will be flying during the holiday season who are looking for tickets, and those prices are not going to be low. And when they get to the airports, they're going to be jammed up because TSA employees are also working without a paycheck for over a month now. And many air traffic controllers and TSA agents are calling in sick. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But it brings us to the point of a crisis. Medical insurance costs are rising. ACA expiration plays a big part. Healthcare becoming unaffordable will have an impact on the economy as well. Healthcare premiums will go up for everybody, including the middle-income people who usually don't have to rely on any sort of federal aid, and put a strain on the economy. Most Americans want ACA subsidies to be extended, but that's not what Republicans and MAGA and Donald Trump want. And why they don't want that, other than just being egotistical and wanting everything their way, doesn't make any sense to me, because the price of healthcare insurance premiums are going to go up for even upper middle class people, because the whole market is going to be disrupted. ICE has had a significant chilling effect on US housing markets, as construction workers are harder to find and more expensive. Groceries are more expensive for the same reason, because people who worked in American farms did not want to come to work or had been raided by ICE agents and DHS agents and therefore stopped going to work. And we saw images of strawberries rotting in the fields because there were no strawberry pickers, and therefore food prices will go up. Just like construction market and housing market prices will go up, meaning housing affordability and dreaming of owning a home, all of that will be upended. The economy keeps continuously deteriorating from the time Donald took office, and it shows no signs of an uptick. Scott Bessent conceded that some parts of the country's industries are already in recession. Remember, stagflation is the place you stay before you head to recession, which is the euphemism for a depression. We don't talk about it in terms of a depression anymore, but more and more, with people lining up at food pantries and more people not getting well-paying jobs, more and more the cost of living going up, it's going to look like a depression, and we're going to have to accept it. Then there's the impact of the shutdown. 1.5 million people are going without a paycheck. Some of them are working while they are going without a paycheck, like TSA agents and air traffic controllers, because they're considered essential workforce. You know who I think should strike are all the people who work in the White House residence. So Donald Trump is forced to move out of the White House because he's not going to have a butler. So these are all signs and proof of a faltering economy and a disruption that may upend many lives in the days and months to come. Millions are unable to provide basic needs for themselves and their families, unable to pay mortgages and utility bills, unable to get affordable health care or basic food assistance. So at this time, one of the best ways in which you can help, if you are in a financial position to help and want to help others, is to donate to food pantries and food banks in your community. People in your community across the country will become food insecure because of this economy and the ongoing shutdown. If you don't have that much money, donate non-perishable foods, canned food, dried beans. And where there's an option, donate fresh produce. Donate your time to these places if you want to help people, but your money is also tight. This is how we, the people, can pick up some of the slack caused by a federal government that's betraying its people. And this is what Donald Trump calls the golden age. It seems like we are entering the golden shower age instead of the golden age. Donald and his regime are pissing and shitting on everything American and burning everything American to the ground. No foreign country could have done the damage to America that Donald has been successful in accomplishing over the last 10 months. And that's why I say again for the 1,000th time that Donald Trump is an enemy of the American people, our well-being, and our republic. With that said, please take care of one another. Please like, share, and subscribe. and I'll talk to you soon.